There was one specific turning point. I received an individualised learning plan and they had written, make sure to remind Grace to put her headphones on if she looks distressed. And I responded, I was like, I know when to put my headphones on when I'm distressed. I didn't have the independence that I wanted in school.
Hello and welcome to My Life, My Way, a podcast for young people with disabilities to share their story about how they're taking charge of change in their own lives. My name is Brittany Wilson, otherwise known as Britt. I use the pronouns she, her, and I am a lived experience person with disability myself.
This is the My Life, My Way podcast, brought to you by children and young people with Disability Australia as part of the Take Charge of Change project. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of which these podcasts have been recorded and pay our respects to elders past and present. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm 19 years old and I am an autism and disability advocate, and my favourite animal is sharks.
I love that. Sharks are adorable. They get a very bad rep.
Absolutely. I've got a lot of experience with school-related ableism and school-related just general experiences coming from the perspective of an autistic and disabled person. I was in a mainstream school from kindy till year 11, but when I got to year 12, I found out about open universities and I ended up dropping out with just 6 months left because I realised school just wasn't the place for me.
What does being independent mean to you?
To me, personally, independence looks a lot different to how it looks for other people. For example, I bring my parents with me to doctor's appointments. I don't drive myself many places, despite knowing how to drive, just because it stresses me out. And that does look different to a lot of people my age. And I have come to realise that independence really isn't just one set way of living. It is more what you can do to have that autonomy and that control, whether that is, getting yourself dressed or managing your medications, or even, living on your own. Independence is really it's a huge spectrum, and I think everyone is independent in their own way.
I really love that. Everyone is independent in their own way, because that is so true, especially for some of us in the disability community. Because even those what people would class as small can be huge milestones of independence.
Yeah, definitely.
For those of us. Even just my biggest goal lately has been I've been able to lift a liter carton of milk.
Amazing. Yeah.
Do you have any little milestones like that?
My littler milestones just recently I was able to ring the doctors and I was able to make my own appointment. And there's a lot of little things like that in my life where it's I'm able to go and do something by myself. I don't need support doing this new thing that someone else has been doing since they were 12.
Yeah, I really love that. That's awesome. Well, congrats on your latest milestone. That is wicked. Ringing the doctors is scary. Even I don't like doing that, and I have to do it myself. Okay, so you've talked a lot about school.
Yes.
So when did you realise you wanted to be more independent at school?
I think I've always kind of craved autonomy and independence, especially in school. But I think there was one specific turning point where I began to self-advocate for myself more because I really just felt out of control. And I think that was when I received an individualised learning plan in my inbox, completely unprompted, with none of my input, and it was nothing that I needed. And they had written essentially things like, make sure to remind Grace to put her headphones on if she looks distressed. And I responded, I was like, I know when to put my headphones on when I'm distressed. You're not seeing that I do have this independence. And I think that was when I kind of saw that I didn't have the independence that I wanted in school. And that was when I started fighting more for it.
Okay, so what does that independence look like at school?
It's essentially a lot of, I don't need teachers coming up and reminding me, you need to have this assignment done any more than another student would, because I don't need that. That's not something that I have ever needed. And just because teachers have a learning plan that says I need that does not mean that I do need that. And that's not my way of being independent. So, getting myself to classes on my own, that's independent. Even getting myself to classes with someone to take me there, that's also independent. And just kind of moving away from the expectations that school staff and other students had placed on me, to do what made me feel the most autonomous.
That's really awesome. And yeah, exactly. That seems like them coming up and telling you to put your headphones on and reminding you, it seems more pressure inducing and singling out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, for me, I wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom myself. So I had to go with a TA because of OH&S. So I would have TAs come up in the middle of class and go, Britt, it's bathroom time now.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse you, I don't need to pee. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can tell you if I need to.
Yeah, I can actually wait. And they're like, actually, no, it's more convenient for us if you go now.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely understand things like that. And well done you for advocating for yourself.
Yes. Advocacy, especially in school, is such a hard thing for a lot of people to, get into. And I think that once you really do start advocating for yourself and you start seeing that change, it is really fulfilling and you really do feel that sense of autonomy and independence.
Yeah, definitely. And it changed for me in year 11 and 12. So,
yeah.
So, thinking of all of that, what advice would you give to other disabled young people who want to be more independent but might not know where to start?
I think you just have to remember that every step is still a step, no matter how small. Like, if you don't have to, go and say to everyone, I'm going to be more independent. This is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do my own doctor's appointments. I'm going to move out of home. I'm going to do all of these things all at once. And really I don't think that's how anyone's path goes. It is really okay to start small and be proud of yourself for what you can achieve, even if that is, making a doctor's appointment over the phone or putting your weekly pills out into your pill case by yourself. Everything that you do by yourself is independent, or even everything that you do with support is still independent. And you can always be making more steps in the direction of where you want to be.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. So you've talked about that you're now at uni, and a bit of that. Would you like to go a bit more into that and talk about what's the best thing about taking charge of your learning?
Yeah, so I did not finish year 12. I had a very difficult schooling experience pretty much all of my life. And I got to the middle of year 12. I had like 6 months left and I decided I couldn't do it anymore. I wasn't able to submit my assignments. I was really struggling with my executive functioning and I was just overall burnt out. And I met someone who told me about an Open Universities program that I didn't need to finish high school for. And I saw it and I pretty much immediately knew that that would be an amazing option for me. And basically a week later, I had dropped out and was enrolled in an undergraduate degree for psychology. And just making that choice of I don't need to finish high school, and taking charge in that way just felt so empowering. And it was just incredible for my mental health. And I soon discovered that being in the more independent learning space of university was a much better option for me. And I realized that that break between me finishing school and starting uni, was when I realized, I don't need to follow this set path of finish school, go to uni, get my degree, go into this job. It would be okay if I got halfway through uni and I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. It was okay that I couldn't finish high school, because there's always pathways, there's always steps you can be taking to end up where you want to be.
That is really powerful. Don't worry, I was a year 10 dropout and then a year 12 dropout.
Yeah.
I tried all over again and then I'm like, yeah, nah, still can't make it.
Yeah.
School is hard, and having that autonomy and that control and that decision making is a very powerful thing. And it's awesome that you're doing the psychology and doing you're kicking goals. That's wicked. But you're right, it doesn't matter if you drop out, because you've tried, and that's a huge thing in itself.
Absolutely.
So what outcomes do you see for yourself now that you have been able to find your own version of independence?
It's kind of just opened up a whole pathway, a whole tree of possibilities, because for my whole life I've kind of just seen one straight path. I've been one of those people that has had their life and their degree planned out since they were in primary school. And I was so set on that I didn't realize that there was any other way to go. And now that I'm here and I've realized I've taken the time to think on what I actually want to do with my life. And I've realized I don't need to finish the path of high school. I can branch off to the side and go to uni. And if I decided that I didn't want to do uni anymore, I can see just a whole, interconnecting system of just different pathways of things that I would enjoy. And there's just so many more opportunities. And it really does feel freeing seeing all of that when you previously thought that, there was only one option.
Yeah, I bet. I was the kid that was like, I'm going to uni too.
Yeah.
Right from younger. And then it was such a big grieving process when I figured out I actually can't cut it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know about the Open University. So you've educated me on something like that, which is really cool. And it's so nice to see other young people that are realizing that, but also being empowered by the free choice of and control of what they want to do and how they can get there.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
It's really incredible what you're doing.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
I think the main takeaway I want people to kind of get from my story is that nothing is set in stone. You don't need to follow that path. You don't need to follow the path that others have set upon you, the expectations that others have set upon you. And you really just need to follow what makes your heart happy, and, forget all the rest.
I think a lot of young people are going to hear what you've had to say and realize that there's a lot more opportunity and control out there.
Well, I can only hope that someone out there will hear this and will realize that they're not on the path that they want to be on.
The Take Charge of Change project received funding from the Australian Government, Department of Health, Disability and Ageing. To learn more about children and young people with Disability Australia or to become a member, please go to our website on www.cyda.org.au.